Hi. The purpose of this screencast is to share with you some of the changes in the way we report out student progress using the parent portal of Powerschool. One of the things that you'll notice is that we no longer have percentage scores displayed next to each one of our classes. And that's because we'll be reporting out their progress relative to the standards. Before we go any further, I think it's important that we talk about what a standard is. Now, a standard expresses what a student should know and be able to do in a subject area and grade level. ASD standards come from American Education Reaches Out, or AERO, a U.S. State Department initiative that is aligned to curriculum in the U.S. that is known as the Common Core. The standards have been developed by subject area educators and ensure that our students are prepared academically. They are aligned with the elementary school and the high school and ensure academic preparation to university. So how do we get to look at those standards? Well, next to each one of these subject areas, there's a small line which is actually a hyperlink, and that'll take us to another page where we can find this additional information. Here we are in language arts. This page is actually separated into 6 distinct areas. Now this top area is really summary information. There's an area for a final letter grade, teacher comments, and a section description. Now up here where we have a final grade, it's not populated yet. You'll find a score listed there at the end of a semester or a quarter for quarter rotational classes. Same with the teacher comments. These get populated at the end of a semester or at the end of a quarter for quarter rotational classes. However, teachers can enter comments at any time and will sometimes do this if they want to provide additional information with regards to a particular assignment. In this case here, a student had difficulty on a writing assignment because of some incorrect inferences. So they need additional evidence before making their claims. If I go down to this next section, we have a score descriptor. Now, how do we talk about performance relative to standards? Well, we have proficiency indicators. Here we have advanced, proficient, approaching proficiency, limited proficiency, incomplete or insufficient evidence, and not assessed. To find out what each one of these levels mean, we can click here for a score description. A new window will open up, highlighting what each one of these levels of performance mean. So if I go down to proficient, the student consistently demonstrates an understanding of standards and benchmarks, meeting grade level expectations. The student applies the key concepts, processes, and skills. So here's where we can get that information. The next section talks about missing assignments. If an assignment is ever missing, this field will be populated. It'll include the date that the assignment was entered in Powerschool, the name of the assignment, and a description of it. There'll also be a running tally as to the number of assignments that are currently missing. Below that, we have a category score. It will report out progress relative to strands. Now a strand is a grouping of like standards. So all the standards that have to do with writing are combined here. All the standards that have to do with reading literature are combined here. And then an overall level of performance is written under the score tab here. Now there are more than 2 for language arts, but they're not all up here at present. That's because there hasn't been an assignment that has addressed them in particular. So until they're assessed, they won't populate this field. Below, we have our learning habits. Now they're not currently there, but this is where we'll find information about student engagement, effort, participation, respect, and responsibility. And finally, our last field, assignment details. Every assignment that your son or daughter completes gets listed here. There's the date that they were entered into Powerschool, the name of the assignment, and they're hyperlinked as well. So if they're blue, you should be able to click on one and it'll give you a short description about what the assignment was. This assignment assesses a student's ability to write a persuasive paragraph. Going back, so we have our assignments. Now next to each assignment are the standards that are being addressed. So for this particular reading practice, it's standard RL1, which is a reading literature standard. Support inferences with evidence in literature. You'll notice in this case the student was approaching, but there's a purple diamond next to the score. These purple diamonds are special codes which are listed at the bottom. This score is exempt from final grade. This score here indicates that an assignment was late. Now, why would a score that's exempt be listed up here? Well, for two reasons. One, they represent a score that was made while the student was learning. We call this a formative assessment. It's an assessment for learning. And because they're still learning it, we don't want it to factor into their overall progress. Now take a look here. W1 writes arguments and supports claims for this writing task. It's seen again here, writing assignment persuasive. And this is a bigger assignment. It's a summative assignment. It's when we look at an assessment of learning. And now we see that they're advanced. We can report out where they are once we collect the information that leads up to it. So this gives you an idea of how they were when it was first introduced. This gives you an idea of where they are now. So here we have all of our scores for each one of the standards. Now remember, they get combined and rolled up into these scores up here. So overall, the student is proficient in writing and proficient in reading literature. And we have special score codes next to them to help us identify what they may mean. And that concludes this presentation. Thank you.